3, 2.5, 1.
For those who seek truth and meaning in life, who dread the normality of a 9-to-5 existence, who know the rich value of wild trout over a weekly paycheck, it is sometimes necessary to travel to the uttermost parts of the earth. For the Angling Exploration Group, 4 trout bums seeking salvation, that need for piscatorial fulfillment took them on an expedition to the bottom of the world and the exotic cultures of Patagonia, a wild and trout-rich region comprised of the southern half of Chile and Argentina. As with most travelers entering Patagonia, the journey begins in the Argentine capital of Buenos Aires. Vibrant and culturally rich, this is truly one of the great metropolitan cities of South America. The Mandinga Hostel served as base camp for the expedition's extensive preparations, from learning Spanish to looking for a vehicle, and of course, picking out
the shuttle bike. My soul ain't have to breathe to get it back. Finding out of my home, that is gonna.
Well, maybe they didn't spend the entire time in preparation. From the roof, the crew watched the New Year's celebration in Buenos Aires transform into what seemed like a war zone. From bottle rockets to cherry bombs to shotgun blasts, explosions of every type echoed down the cobblestone streets. After a restless and frustrating month in the city, everyone was greatly relieved when the day finally came to load up the custom-fabricated off-road trailer and begin their journey. As they rattled off towards the open road, none of them had any idea of what lay ahead.
And so begins a new stage of our lives.
I had me a time on the road, Had me a time on the road. I learned a lot of lessons and some things I never knowed. Had me a time on the road. I met a lot of good folks on the road, Met a lot of good folks on the road. I cheered them up the best I could when I went.
Brake and engine overheating problems would plague the Angling Exploration Group as they crossed the endless central desert. This journey took them along the rugged spine of the Andes. They had no schedule or direction except south, towards Ushuaia, the world's southernmost city. Finally, they crossed the 40th parallel into Patagonia.
Driving down a hill, got the car in first, trying to use a compression from the engine to slow us down because we absolutely have no brakes.
There's 2 very big cows in the middle of the road.
You want to give them the horn, Davey?
Get out! Get!
episode. That was insane.
That
was a serious brook trout.
You see him? You're gonna end up with some kind of fish herpy if you keep kissing those things.
It's an old family tradition.
Yeah, nice fish. Don't let him get you under the snag. big brown came right up from under that log. Running out from the snag right there. Yeah. Just a pig. Came right out and ate that olive bugger.
Our axle shifted, and we tried fixing it ourselves. I climbed underneath the vehicle and tried tightening up the U-bolts that come off the leaf springs, and that helped a little bit. We were able to make it to a mechanic where they decided to just go ahead and weld it. Apparently that's what they do to fix everything in Argentina. They just weld it. It's the easiest fix. We placed a bet so far. Everyone on this trip has came up with something that was going to happen next at the Jeep, and so far everything's happened. Except for mine. Hopefully it doesn't. Engine fire. Cerveza.
Well, I'm going. Yes, I'm going. Well, they cried won't make me stay. Well, let it go, you cry.
Deeper and deeper they wound down the backbone of this massive continent in search of remote waters and plentiful trout. For a small price, a couple of local gauchos were willing to pack the boys and their gear into the headwaters of a remote valley. While the low water clarity made fishing challenging, the tranquil beauty, the unusual combination of bamboo and glaciers, and the remoteness more than made up for the lack of fish. The crew, saddle sore and tired, decided it was time to motor out. In the heart of Patagonia, there lies an extensive system of wild, crystal-clear rivers and trout-filled natural lakes, completely free from the choking hindrance of dams. Filled with anticipation, the crew inflated their water masters and began gearing up for the long day ahead.
I got worked by that fish.
While this system provided non-stop action for cookie-cutter rainbows, the boys caught wind of other good waters and decided to continue heading south.
Okay, get it out. Oh, he's turning.
He's got it.
Oh, yes! Yeah! That's how it's done.
Is it a brookie or a bow?
Now what do I do?
Any more out there?
The crew continued on their journey with plans of leaving Argentina and driving Chile's Austral Highway, 1,600 kilometers of dirt road. However, due to strict border policies, they were denied from leaving the country with an Argentine-made vehicle. Once again, the group's plans were thwarted by South American bureaucracy. Instead of chasing trout in the rainforests of southern Chile for the next month, they would have to continue south along the windy steppes of Argentina. It was a serious blow for the team, and they were forced to back up and regroup. Still, nothing prepared them for the real blow they were about to receive.
In Argentina, they put the hand on the windshield.
For a reason.
And apparently we thought this was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, we're not going to Chile.
We're not going to Chile anyways. Oh my God. Cut this thing out.
That is insane.
Direct shot.
Direct shot.
It was a direct shot, like straight through.
Well, I guess we haven't seen the last of all the scale. I can't believe that. That's ridiculous.
Back's gonna be fun.
You know what this means though? I get to go back for me sleeping bag.
Where'd you leave it?
I left it in the place and I'm staying. I might be staying.
It's cooler reeks.
In Patagonia, there are places so rugged and remote, they seem untouched by the hands of time. Finding such a place is magical and provides a window into the past, a chance to see what life might have been 1,000 years ago. Nature in its most pristine state. These are the places guidebooks don't point to, tour guides don't orchestrate. Everything encountered is simply as it is, real.
Of all the different aspects of fly fishing, I'd have to say that sight fishing is my favorite. It's nice to be able to enjoy your surroundings while you're watching and waiting for that fish to come. Then when you spot that fish cruising towards you, your heart starts beating faster. You feel a surge of adrenaline take over your body as you try to make the cast. Sometimes you only have a window of a couple seconds, and then the fish is gone. But if you make the right cast, and the fish grabs your fly, to me, that is the best feeling of all.
Yes!
The group had found a true fly fisherman's paradise and had it all to themselves. At the end of each day on the water, the boys would regroup and row their boats back to the campsite. Around a warm fire, they would recharge hungry bodies, create yet another evolution of flies, and rewrite the day's events over cold cerveza. Each night, they'd fall asleep under the light of a trillion stars. Or sometimes, the tying and the stories would last till dawn. Plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
Why do you think they made the speedometer in this Jeep go up to 200? It can hardly even make 60.
So what happened, man?
Well, it seems as though our alternator decided to crap out on us, and we have absolutely no charge. We're not getting any volts off of it. No charge in the battery. Can't even get a spark to start. We got a jump from an Argentinian recently, and we're able to make it down the road a little ways without our headlights. So we needed some lighting, so we ended up using about 6 headlamps mounted to the front of our grill guard, which worked for a little while until we just stalled out again. So we're gonna have to figure something out here. We're about 45 Ks from Mescal, maybe a little less.
Tucked away behind the rain shadow of the Andes lies the small Argentine town of Esquel. The Patagonian Express, a small-gauge railway that still runs today, is a prime example of how the town has retained some of its heritage. Unfortunately, Esquel's surrounding waters suffer from unregulated mining practices, and local graffiti echoes public sentiment.
Feeling real good. This thing's done the entire trip.
The group used the Hotel Argentino as a base camp on and off for over a month. The eclectic owner Juan filled his historic hotel with all sorts of antiques and oddities to keep the weary traveler amused. The team thought they'd found a perfect place to rest and relax, but it turned out this wasn't your average hotel. It just so happened there was a bar attached that doubled as one of the most popular discos in town. The next morning, Ryan and Brian hopped in the Silver Devil, as the Jeep was now dubbed, to try their luck on one of the nearby high desert lakes.
Black Baby's Sprinkling Special Leech.
Oh yeah.
Woo! That is a pig.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah!
Hard day at the office.